Today I have a really special guest. I grew up listening to his music all through high school, college, beyond. In fact, I still have his music in my playlist, and he's still making music, which is amazing. And I can speak forever on Kid Sensation, but I wanted him to definitely say hi. I know I'm an oral surgeon. I have a podcast. I do oral surgery stuff. That's great. We all grew up listening to music. We all grew up going to concerts and doing all these things. Everyone goes on their own path. And he was you, I can say you because you're here. You were a big part of my path. Like music was a huge part of the way I grew up, like it is, I think, for a lot of people. And it holds a special place, in my heart, and I know in a lot of people's hearts, going to shows, just chilling by yourself, listening to something with friends. I'm really excited to have you here today. So I wanted you to introduce yourself. My demographic is different. I understand that. Music is music. It's just anyone can vibe to it. It doesn't matter if you're a surgeon, if you're a lawyer, or if you're just working on your car in your yard. It doesn't really matter. But I wanted you to introduce yourself. And for those of you who don't know, Kid Sensation, hip hop artist.
My posse's on Broadway.
Me and Kid Sensation at home away from home in the black Benz limo with a cellular phone. I'm calling up the posse. It's time to get to ripping.
Native of the Seattle area like me, and I wanted you to just kind of go through who you are and kind of your journey to where you are at this point.
Wow. Okay. Great question because I want to give you the cleanest version I can of it without going all into the sticks and woods. Because I know you'll probably ask me a ton of questions that are relating to a lot of the things I want to talk about. Essentially, I grew up in Seattle as well, like you did. What college did you go to?
So I went to Washington State University, and I grew up in South Seattle. I know you like
I'm
UW.
so sorry, man.
I know,
I'm
but I
so
teach at
sorry.
the UW. I teach at the dental school there, but honestly, I'm still
There you go.
I'm still a Coug at heart.
You're
Though,
still a Cougar Hearts. Well, you
Yeah.
know what? Guess what? So is my wife. So I guess
Yep.
now I can say two good things came out of
Yeah. I
WSU.
know.
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
and okay, my boy Trufant and Clay Thompson. Those guys.
Okay. Yeah. Of course, those guys.
No, it's a great school, great place. Love Pullman, love the area. And I went to the University of Washington, as I'm sure you guys might surmise, hearing me and the little goofy rivalry thing going on. But yeah, like I say, grew up in Seattle, right across the street from Rainier Beach High School, the famed Rainier Beach High School that's been the birthplace of so many NBA players and
Yeah.
just great athletes. And so I grew up right across the street from Rainier Beach High School, went to West Seattle High School, interestingly enough, and grew up just around the corner, like literally in the same neighborhood as Sir Mix-a-Lot, the Grammy-winning artist, who I really basically got my start under, man. Started, literally because when his name, a lot of people don't even know the name Sir Mix-a-Lot. His name is Mix-a-Lot because he was a DJ and he literally used to mix. And so before he even started picking up a microphone to rap, he was a DJ. And so the way I got to know Sir Mix-a-Lot was we lived in the same neighborhood. This is way before any of his records, any of his albums, any of the stuff ever kind of came out. He was the local DJ and he used to make mixtapes for people. Now, you and I can remember the mixtapes when they were actually cassettes, and probably a lot of your listeners remember the old cassette tapes. And so Sir Mix-a-Lot would buy all the latest records from New York and LA and wherever the case is, and he would bring them home and he would make people mixtapes where he had his little microphone and his little kind of makeshift studio at home. So he'd create these cool mixtapes where literally he'd be putting all these different records that he bought. Like, hey, if you and I got to go to the record store and buy all this music, it adds up to, hundreds of dollars
Yeah.
versus he could just take a cassette and put like a 90-minute cassette and give you 90 minutes worth of, so you get 30, 25, 30 songs on here, and it's on a great cassette, a high bias cassette.
And they had that auto reverse on
And
the
the
cassette.
auto reverse, so man, so you got 45 minutes of music and turn open,
You didn't have
45 more.
You didn't have to take it out.
Didn't even have to take the tape
That was
out.
technology back then. That was
Oh,
nuts.
that was high tech. That was high tech.
Otherwise, you had to take the cassette out, forward it to get to the. Yeah, it was. You didn't have rewind for a long time.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And so Mix would make he would make mixtapes for everyone, man. You give him a brand new tape and $10, and man, he would put all these tracks on there for you. So that was his hustle to sell music and to do all that and to work on his DJing thing. He also DJ'd a lot of parties, the boys clubs and gyms and rec centers or whatever. He would DJ parties, and so I got to know him through getting mixtapes. I was just this kid that was always trying to hang around the music and just trying to see what he was doing. And so finally one day he let me in to see his studio, and I was like, oh, this is super cool. And then he told me one time he was DJ at a party. So I was like, man, can I come along? And but he said sure. And I would help him. I was like his roadie, man. I would help load equipment into the car and help make things happen. And then, it just kind of started to develop from there. I just started hanging around more and more. And then so next thing it was is, hey man, can I start a record? Or can I, maybe like while you go to the bathroom or go talk to some people, can I put on the next song or, DJ a little bit? So I started to DJ a little bit with him, man. And then over time it just continued to develop. And then as he began to rap, I started to kind of try to follow suit with him and just again, like I said, just hanging around. I was just this little kid
How
just
old
trying
were
to be
you?
around the music.
How old were
When
you
I
then?
started with Mr. Mixed a Lot, believe it or not, man, I was 13 years old when I
Man,
went to like the first house party in Play City DJing. And when by the time he put out the record of like Square Dance Rap and put out his first single, I beatboxed on that. I was 14 years old.
that was you?
So that was me beatboxing on Square Dance Rap. Yep. Yep. So I was all over that Swass album. I rapped on Rippin with him.
I love
Um,
Rippin. My daughter loves
yeah,
Rippin. It's just that whole beat.
Rippin is just, I mean, how can you not turn on that song and just kind of dance when it comes on? It just has that sound to it, man. If you guys remember Rippin, go back and show it some love, man. And
All
then,
right, let's see if
and
we
that's
can.
what inspired Back to Boom as well.
This is Rippin.
There you go.
With the real big butt. She gets real ill when she hears my cut. Got two Cadillacs,
Let's
one
find your
blue,
part here. Let's see here. Hey, this is not you, right? I always thought this part was you. Like
Oh,
the
the
high
Square
pitch,
Dance
the
thing.
high pitch
Everybody
part.
thought that. That's mixed.
That's mix. That's mix a
See,
lot.
that's mixed.
I always assumed
then,
it
of
was you
course-
for some reason.
Everybody thought that. But this is me beatboxing coming up right here.
Oh, I missed that. Hold on 1 second.
7 days a week, I'm on vacation. Let's get live with the kid sensation.
That's you.
Yep.
That was your big break, the beatbox at first.
That was my first thing, was beatboxing and DJing. That was what I did first. And then, of course, I rap on that song too as well. That
Yeah,
like
you
the
do.
high pitched voice wasn't me, but I rap in my regular voice
Yep.
with the mix a lot. Square Dance Rap wasn't me. A lot of people would ask me, "Is that you on Square Dance Rap?" I'm like, "No, that's mixed, man.
That's
That's mixed." He
mixed.
did a pitch thing to his voice, and that's how he developed that sound. So buttermilk biscuits.
Kind of like
You know.
that. A little bit like this, but not
There
quite.
it is.
All right, that's all I got. That's my.
There it
That's
is,
all I
man.
got. I'm not
Now
gonna
I can
rap.
start
I'm not gonna rap.
beatboxing. You can-
I'm not
you can
gonna
bust some
freestyle.
rhymes.
You. Not gonna freestyle you. No. But
I love
that
it,
song
man.
still is my playlist. Like I have playlists that are, you name them. Like they're like the mixtapes now. You can name your playlist whatever you want. This one's called Hot Stuff. That's what I call this one, and you're on it quite a bit.
dope.
Back to Boom's
dope.
on it. Way I
dope.
Swing with Ken Griffey Jr.'s on it with you. It's
Yeah.
just, this
Yeah.
is great stuff. Man. So you were 13 when you met him. I remember
Yep.
watching on Evening Magazine at home. There used to be a show called Evening Magazine with like Penny Legate and like Brian Tracy or something. Mix-a-Lot was on it. He had a white Cadillac. I remember like they're like, we got Seattle's own Sir Mix-a-Lot on it. Was that era when he had that white Cadillac and was that beyond that at that point? That was probably after
Actually, that
Posse.
was a little bit after. No, that was just maybe after like Square Dance Rap and all that stuff. I don't think Posse had quite dropped at that point, but I might be mixing my years up. But yeah, that Evening Magazine, yeah, we were on. And then Front Runners, Steve Poole had Front Runners. That show, we were on that before too.
Now that you mentioned it, I just remember it now. I
crazy.
forgot about it.
Crazy, bro. Those days were crazy. Yeah, we were on a lot of the local TV shows and on the local news quite a bit, man,
And-
because just being kind of the first hip hop artist to record and release
Right.
rap records.
And were you on there? I remember when Yo MTV Raps was on. They came out to Seattle. Were you part of
Yep.
that at that point too? I'm trying to remember.
I was part of the group and all that, but I wasn't there. Unfortunately, I had a really, really badly sprained ankle, and I couldn't even walk. I couldn't do anything. I had tore a bunch of ligaments. It was
Oh
real
my
bad.
God.
So I wasn't able to make the MTV thing. They literally are up in the Space Needle doing all that. And I'm watching. I'm like, oh man.
It was
But they
Fab
did
Five
shout
Freddy.
me out though.
Fab Five Freddy. Yep.
Fab Five Freddy was there. Yeah, good dude, man. And so I've been on UMTV Raps, but yeah, no, I wasn't there that day for that one, man. But they shouted me out. It was
That's awesome. I've been performing full arch dental implant surgery since 2012. I started back then with Nobel implants, and I continue to use them today. Getting consistent results over time and seeing these restorations in function over that length of time has basically strengthened my use of the product. There's over 100 implant systems out there. I just choose the one that's been the most consistent for me. So I grew up in South Seattle. Like, you know where Sharpless High School used to be?
Of course,
Graham Hill.
Graham Street and off of Rainier and Graham.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're going up from Rainier Beach and you're going up north towards, I guess, Columbia City, like you take a left on Graham, okay, away from Lake Washington the other way. And then
Right.
there was a street called South Eddy Street, not too far, like 2 blocks from Sharpless High School. That's where I grew up. And my best friend, Damian Mason, I'm going to mention him just because we grew up with, he introduced me to rap music in the 80s. Like, it was at the time, it was NWA and Too Short, obviously Sir Mix-a-Lot, Kid Sensation. You know, like you said, we were dubbing tapes off the, you know, we would have dub tapes, and that's how I got it, you know?
Yep.
And that was my first introduction. And he gave me a list of questions to ask you. So yeah, Damian Mason.
I can't wait.
My buddy Damian, like he was my best friend growing up, and we're still, you know, we still talk to this day. Even though, you know, after 6th grade, my family moved us to like Bellevue, then Newcastle. He moved to, you know, different places. Now he's in Atlanta. But you know, he had some questions for you. If you don't mind, I want to get to some of these because these are good.
I'm excited. I love people that like I said, that grew up on the music and that really, really know it from the beginning. Go ahead, man. Fire away.
All right. So this, picture this, people. This is like the 80s, 90s. I mean, your first technical album, I think, your album, I think, Rollin' with Number One came out with 1990-ish, right? That was with Back to Boom.
Yes.
And for those of you, let me just play this here. Let me find Back to Boom because that's the song that honestly, like, when that song came out, like everyone was playing that song for a long time.
Many car stereos have blown amps on this. I've gotten the word from a lot of people.
Let's see here. Let me find it. It should be right here. All right. It starts out with this little, right? Goes on for a little bit. This is the original version, I think, because you have a couple remixes of it. I know that.
Yeah. And that's Sir Mix-a-Lot's voice, by the way.
Oh, it is? I know they give it to me. Is the other one is too?
Yep. Back to all that.
Oh,
That's Sir
okay.
Mix-a-Lot. Yeah.
This part's good. Living like a champ, got an 87 truck with a false gate. So good. Everyone listening, you got to get this stuff. It's really good. I'm going to skip it here and go forward. There's a part where you slow it up. When this did this, I was like,
Yeah.
I haven't heard like a song slow down like that before. You got to imagine the bass with this song if you have a good system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This all hit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to slow it down, you know, because it was like there was 2 ways I kind of wanted to make the song. I was like, well, why don't I do both? So
It's
I just had
perfect.
the beat up hype in the beginning and then slow that thing down and give them some of that good hard bass.
That's where you just kind of lean back in your car a little bit. That's the perfect, man. That song works on all levels, and it's still like I play it all the time, which is amazing.
That was my debut single, and it was certified gold, so that's pretty exciting. And so, yeah, it was a big song for me.
That was a big song. I think it's still a big song, honestly.
I appreciate it.
But we'll get to some more of your stuff because I think people need to know, like, you know, some of these songs for sure. My demographic, if I look at all my stats on all my little accounts and everything, my demographic is like age 25. My biggest demographic is age 25 to 40. Like that's my chunk of people that listen and watch all my content. So what's weird with music is I feel like when I was growing up, I knew about older music. It wasn't my generation, but I knew like songs from the 70s. I knew them. I feel like now people like sometimes they kind of don't. Like they know what's out now, but they don't really know 10 years ago even sometimes. It's so weird to me how that happens. But I think there's just there's so many ways to get music now. That's just crazy. You know, back when we were growing up, we had Music Menu. Remember that?
Right.
I used to go there
store.
to get rap music because it wasn't sold like, you know, at all the places, and there definitely wasn't streaming or anything. But that's where I used to get my rap music from, Music Menu in Seattle.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I think, you know, too, now it's so saturated in terms of like pretty much anybody can pick up any device, their phone or whatever, and they can create the music. So there's a lot of music out there, number one. But then number two, just to get music out now, the bar is so much lower, obviously, than it was, you know, before, right? Like, I mean, in order to get a record out, you had to get a record deal, or you had to like maybe have some money and be able to produce records. You had to go to the studio and you had to pay for a studio to record, and $150 an hour or whatever they charge. And there was just all this red tape from you being able to have that creativity inside of you and to actually be able to express it and let the world hear it. So now, of course, it's a lot simpler, for better or for worse, like you could say. But at the end of the day, I think that that's part of the cool part about it now is we are hearing about artists that we may have never heard about if they never got the chance because the bar was so high. So it was so difficult to get into the music business back when we were
And there are a
recording
lot
and
of
rocking. So I was
there's probably
fortunate.
a lot of gatekeepers too, right? I feel like, and I mean,
100%.
just from what I read, and I don't know anything about the industry, but it just seems like there was a lot of gatekeepers for that stuff, and there probably still is. But now you have like YouTube, you have TikTok, you have different ways to
Right.
get stuff out, which is crazy, right? So
Right.
here's some of Damien's questions. My friend Damien Mace, my best friend growing up. All right. So
All right.
when did you guys know that Posse on Broadway went? I know Posse on Broadway is a Mix-a-Lot song, but you were part of that movement, and I know you were in the videos and stuff. Also, it was so cool. When did you know that that went in national?
Yeah, the funny thing is you don't know, and I'm glad he brought up Posse on Broadway because, like, especially for that Swass album, Rippin is not the only. I mean, it's the song that I rapped on, but then my voice is also in Posse on Broadway. When you hear everybody at the background,
Yeah.
yelling and talking, and
Yo, PLB. I remember.
right. That's a part of those things. Me saying those things, saying everybody's names or whatever,
Yeah.
shout everybody out. But as far as the Swass album, I was in the studio for a lot of those sessions, and that's why I'm on, some of the songs. That's why so we were a part of the process. Maharaji, PLB, and myself, and that's why we're on the cover of Swass, right? Myself and Maharaji and Nick, we're on the cover of the Swass album. So it wasn't. I mean, of course, he's a solo artist who does his music. He does the majority of the production, the writing, and of course the performance.
Right.
But we were a crew, right? Like we were part of the creativity, a part of what happened. So getting to Posse on Broadway and kind of when we knew it was kind of turning that corner. He released Square Dance Rap and that did well on the West Coast. It did well down south. But the first time we really, really started to know was when we started to see cities that came up on the airplay as they were shipping it out and getting it out to radio, when we saw Cincinnati and, New York and Virginia and all these different cities that were picking up on Posse on Broadway. But then when we shot that video and that video hit MTV, it was over. Like then it was like recognized everywhere, but the whole thing, like, the nation just like fell in love with that song because it was so catchy. It had so much bass.
That
And
beat,
it just-
that beat is
that
like,
beat,
it's been
man,
done
come
over
on.
a few times. I know. It's
Mhm.
like
It
that
just-
Boys in the Hood beat. Like we're going to talk about.
There you go.
That's iconic. Those are iconic
Right.
beats,
Right.
to me.
That's why, people have remade Posse on Broadway, reused it. I mean,
Yep.
it was one of those iconic beats that just kind of lives on.
It does. Yeah, so that was when you guys that was a big turning point, that song. I know that.
Man, after the pot, like we had done, concerts with people and, we had opened up for a lot of different acts and, we found ourselves on, on some pretty cool little shows or whatever the case is. But now, once Posse on Broadway dropped, man, it just got to the point where now we are with Big Daddy Kane and, Biz Markie and people like that and
Yep.
Ice-T and
I have a story
of
about
course-
Biz Markie, though. I know he's no longer with us, but I have a story.
Yeah,
I saw
right.
him at the Moore Theater when I was in high school in Seattle.
Yeah.
I was in the 8th row, and he spit on me from the 8th row. He had a little lisp.
Yeah.
I was like, man, Biz Markie just spit on me. I was in the 8th row. But, it was back in the day, and no one cared. But I still remember that. It was him, Big
And man,
Daddy Kane, and the Afros, I think I saw. But
Yep. Big, what you call it? Biz Markie, man, one of the funniest dudes, man, that you will ever meet, man. When we were on tour with him, Big Daddy Kane, Stetsasonic, and JJ Fad. So that was
Supersonic,
one tour that we
Stetsasonic.
did. Yep. Supersonic, Stetsasonic,
Yeah.
all of it, man. Yeah, we were that was pretty dope. But anyway, all my point being is that we to really get on bigger and better concert tours and stuff. We were on the Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em tour. We were on of course the Straight Outta Compton tour, and a lot of people don't know this, but
You guys
when
toured
all
with NWA?
oh my gosh, bro! Like literally, I'm gonna look in a minute. I'm gonna see if I have the backstage pass. I still have the backstage pass from when we were on the Straight Outta Compton tour and the Easy Does It tour with Easy E.
Oh
all
my
those tours.
God.
We've been on all those tours, and we were there. You know how in the movie Straight Outta Compton when they show what
Detroit?
happened in Detroit when they performed the police song and all
Yeah.
that.
You
We
were
were
there
there.
for that tour?
We were on that show.
Oh my
Now
God.
they Hollywooded it up a little bit. It wasn't all dramatic.
They
and
weren't like
running,
running.
chasing
They
them
weren't
down.
running through the
Man,
backstage. And,
as soon as they walked off the stage, they say, "Yep, come on over here, fellas." Pretty
Okay.
much.
I figured that part
It was, they have to, of course, add a little drama to the whole
Yeah.
thing. But the point being is that, we were there for all those shows. We've been out speaking of cutting up on the road and acting fool, man, we were out with the Beastie Boys.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
And the Beastie Boys, one of them, I don't remember if it was Ad Rock, went and stole the keys to a bunch of hotel rooms, right? And they were running around, opening up people's doors and throwing ice water on people. Now, how much crazier can you get? You gonna get yourself hurt, man. Just busting in people's doors, throwing water on people and running. I said, man, and got us all kicked out of the hotel, of course. All
Oh
you
my
rap guys
God.
got to go.
That's hilarious.
So I got some, man,
I would have
funny,
thought it would be
funny
like
stories from
Budweiser
the
or
road.
something they're throwing on them, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, there was some funny stories, man, from the road, man. We had some good time.
That is awesome. We're on question number 1. This is getting good. This is really good. So another question from Damien. So why do you think between like Sir Mix-a-Lot, you guys, Macklemore, like there's a gap there in like Seattle sound? I know grunge was super popular in the 90s and so forth. Why do you think that happened for a while, like in Seattle, like the hip hop scene in Seattle?
You know, there were a few other artists that did kind of pop up out of there, like Diggable Planets, you know, even though they kind of were more New York based, but one of the members went to Garfield High School. But, you know, yeah, I would say that gap was representative of what I felt like was one of the bigger problems with Seattle and with the hip hop scene. And that was that we just didn't come together to create things, right? Like there's power in unity, there's power in numbers. In New York, those guys, they stuck together, man. Yeah. So you had, right, like you had Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, you had Master 8, but then those guys formed the symphony. They came together, and Marley Marl got with them, and they created, and like, you know, you had Queen Latifah and Naughty by Nature and all these different people that would come together. They had the flavor unit. So it's like they knew how to say, how do we collaborate together? Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers, all these guys worked together, and they had that whole Nubian movement. So a brand Nubian, speaking of. So you get all these different artists that say, how do we partner up? How do we work together? And how do we help each other to launch? And that's what I felt like we were missing in Seattle. And a lot of people thought like me and Mix-a-Lot owned Nasty Mix Records, or we ran it, or we this, that, the other. And that actually wasn't the case. So I didn't have the power to like sign artists to the label or anything like that. So I wasn't the, you know, this gatekeeping type. And I was always trying to put people on and trying to get people to rap on my records or do everything like that. But to be honest with you, I think it was just the fact that we didn't like lobby our talent and pool our resources together and really, really try to do something cool. And that came from Nasty Mix, that came from Mix, that came from me, that came from all of us, you know. And looking back on it, I was a teenager, right?
Yeah,
and I didn't know, I didn't have the wherewithal, but gosh, it would have been dope if I would have taken the time to reach out to more rappers, because it's not all about Kid Sensation, you know, coming up and getting there. It's like, how do we all come up? Because that if somebody blows up and goes farther than me,
you bring people,
maybe I can help to
everything.
Right.
Everything.
What did they say? The rising tide raises all ships, or whatever
I get it.
Whatever the analogy is, man. So I really felt like we could have done a lot more for the city, man. So I'll own part of that. But I say that it really could have taken, but there's a lot of weird vibes in Seattle too. Back then there was a lot of hatred, man. Like people used to hate me because of what they thought I was about, right? Like we know Kid Sensation gatekeeper. We know he's not doing nothing for all the other rappers. But it's like, have you reached out to me? Have you talked to me? Have you tried to collaborate with me? Have you seen me somewhere and said, yo, let's get together, let's do it? So I would say a lot of that played into that gap, man, is that we just didn't create that synergy, man. To
Speaking of Nasty Mix, like growing up in that's my era of high school, college, right? And even middle school, actually, but high school, college. There used to be a radio show on Sunday nights, KCMU Rap Attack. It was like 6 p.m. to like 8 p.m. It was like Nasty Ness, Shockmaster, Glenn Boyd for a while, I think, was on it. They were doing it. That's how I used to listen to the new music. Like this is way back before streaming, people. And so like there was a rap show, a local rap show. They played like local and national, but they'd have a segment where they played local artists, you know, on that radio station. I used to like take my cassette deck and record the 2-hour show. That's how I would get a lot of songs, you know. You know, there's like Murder, She Wrote by, oh my God, who was that? I forget who. Yeah, like all those songs that came out, you'd hear them there first, and then like the local ones. There was a group out of Tacoma. I'm trying to remember now. Hillside.
Criminal Nation.
I think so.
Yep.
They, you know, and so like it's just all that stuff. That's how I used to get a lot of my music back then. Like the new stuff.
Criminal Nation, High Performance.
Yeah, Criminal Nation, High Performance. Yep. That's the one.
Those guys both ended up on Nasty Mix.
Yeah.
So really, really dope artists, man. There was way more. I always tell people this all the time, man. There were way more talented guys out there than I was in Seattle. They were just super, super talented guys that never got their shot or never got their break. But it wasn't that there was a lack of talent in Seattle.
Yeah.
We just
No,
it just was about different people getting a break.
I know hindsight's always 2020, when you
Yeah,
look back
exactly.
at things. Number three, this is 1990s. I guess we kind of hit this, this grunge thing he had asked about. How far from Seattle have you played a show? So you're talking about tours and stuff that you've been on. Can you think of like the furthest from Seattle you've done a show?
Ethiopia.
You've done a show in
Addis Ababa.
Ethiopia?
Yeah.
What
And
was
Addis
this tour?
Ababa. So it wasn't a tour, but I was featured in a song called Love, Love, Love with this this Ethiopian superstar. Her name is Zeratu. And she is like huge, huge in Ethiopia. Like she's like, I mean, on like Justin Bieber's level, bro. Like when
Yeah.
we went to Ethiopia, literally, when we go out to eat into a restaurant, they would close the restaurant so that her entourage and all of us that came over could go and eat and everything. And they, and she's like big like that. Like everywhere we go, just throngs and throngs and throngs of people. But anyway, I met her at a prayer breakfast, and we got to know each other. But she was like, getting ready to leave town, and the guy who introduced us knew she was an artist and knew I was an artist. And he says, "Man, I know a guy who has a studio that's actually not too far away. While you're here, Zerto, I know you got to leave soon, but why don't you guys like get the studio and collaborate?" And he literally just put us on the spot, right? You know how it's kind of like maybe you'll exchange information and maybe see if something can
Yeah.
work out the next trip or whatever. He literally put us on the spot. I looked at her, she looked at me, and I was like, "How you feel about it?" And he was like, "I'm open for it." I said, "All right, let's get to it." We literally went that day, and we sat, and I got pictures and video of all of the whole time we were together. We created a song together, man, and it was really, really dope. We recorded it the same day, everything. And then I see your fur baby
Yeah,
crawling all over you.
he's super needy, but I can't
It's
kick
all
him
good.
out.
Oh, good. And so we got to recording, and we created a song called Love, 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 and then we released the song and whatever the case is. And then on her next trip, we even shot the video to it. Came back in a few weeks, we shot a video to it, and so it's on like YouTube and all that. So you can check it out.
Nice. Yeah, I will definitely check that out.
Zeratu featuring Cola. Anyway, we recorded this song. Then she gets back after the video released and it starts going. She gets back to back to town, and she says, "I got a whole bunch of requests of people that want for us, because it's the first time she had ever collaborated with a rapper." So she said, "I've gotten all this requests for you to come and you to be a part of this New Year's Eve show." But the problem was she called me and it was literally a week before the show.
And you flew out
And
there.
so I said, "Listen, let me see if I can figure this out. I can move some things around. Maybe I can make this happen." So next thing I know, I'm calling my agent, calling everybody, her people. They all got together, got their arrangements made, and they got us on a flight out there, got me and my wife out there, and we literally, we decided we were going to stay for 9 days in Ethiopia. So I'm like, "Man, look, we're from all the way to Africa. We're going to spend some time here."
Yeah.
And so, we flew out there to Ethiopia, and in downtown Addis Ababa, there were 35,000 people there to see her. And I mean, it was just crazy. And we did that song, and like the whole stadium, the whole place just went absolutely bonkers.
The vibe must have been amazing there.
The vibe was crazy. And then here's what was even funnier. We had shot the music video, and it just came out maybe a couple of weeks before that. I'm on my plane with me and my wife. We landed in D.C. Our connecting flight was going to take us to Addis. And so we landed in D.C. We're getting breakfast, and then the guy who's at the who's serving in the cafe we're eating at, he walks by, he looks at me, he walks by, looks at me again, he's walking again. He's not even serving our table, he's serving another table. Then finally he comes back and he's got a picture of me in the video screenshotted. He said, "Is this you?" And I said, "Yeah, that's me, man." "Oh my God, you know Zeratu?" Turns out he was Ethiopian. He was from Ethiopia and working there in that restaurant.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
so crazy, man. Spotted me, thousands of miles from Ethiopia and
Yeah, yeah.
Seattle. But that's just the power of, like we talk about, the internet and music and,
Power of
all those
music,
different
man. It
things.
doesn't matter who you are, what you do. I mean, it's just gonna hit you,
So that was the
That's just
long
how it
answer
is.
to the farthest show I did.
What's the second farthest?
Ethiopia. Nicaragua.
Okay.
Nicaragua, which is cool. Nicaragua was great. Yeah, yeah.
That is awesome. So you've been around a lot.
Yeah, yeah. A couple
How many
of times
shows do you
outside
think
the
you've
country.
done? How many shows do you think you don't have to give me a number, but like
Whew.
I can't imagine. Over
Jeez,
20,
like,
over 100, over 1,000.
yeah, definitely over a
I
thousand.
can't even imagine what that's like.
Especially like during the heyday, we literally, as I was in high school, it got to the point of where we traveled so much that I had to take my book on the road with me, and I had to do correspondence courses for most of my University of Washington courses, and then with high school, I had to take my books on the road. I was gone pretty much every weekend, and
Yeah.
so I'm sure we were doing, and then during Christmas breaks, stuff like that. I'd be on tours, I'd be gone. So before I graduated high school, I'm sure I had done hundreds of shows,
Yeah.
before I even graduated high school.
Speaking of
So
which, I saw you.
thousands over the
I,
years.
I think in 1990. I even got a picture. This is before smartphones. I got autograph from you here, by the
What?
way. I got an autograph from you here, by the way. So can you see that?
Oh, wow. Yes. I remember those. Those outfits, that yellow and
Yeah.
that little kind of,
And I'll put this
those,
up on the screen later, so it's not so ratchet.
that's
'Cause
a
this is, I
company
can do
called
better.
Van Grack
Yeah.
that made those clothes. And I was a brand ambassador for them. So we wore their clothes, and my gosh, this is crazy.
I
That
took
had to
that
be
picture with
around.
I took that picture with my camera. So I got an autograph from you, and it says, let me find it right here. It says, "Serv, thanks for the support, homie. Kid Sensation."
Wow.
There, you recognize that autograph?
Dude, I still sign the same way now.
Do
With
you
the
really?
big K and the S, I still sign the same way.
And I
That's
got
crazy, man.
I got Maharaji on the deaf side, right next to you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then Stay Chill, DJ Skill, way up here.
Oh yeah, DJ Skill was the third guy over on my Rollin with #1 album. He was to my
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's hard to see. I'll put these on the screen later. But yeah, this is you with your shirt off, that same concert, like rapping. And then like,
Wow.
yeah, the same thing. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny, right?
I couldn't keep a shirt on, man. After the Posse on Broadway video, all the girls, take the shirt off. The shirt. Fine.
Lose a shirt.
Fine.
Oh.
I guess I will.
But yeah, that was funny. I'm like, do you mind if I get a picture? You're like, okay. I'm like, all right, there you go.
That is crazy.
But I still got that. That's funny, right?
You got to send me that, man. I don't even have that picture.
I'll send it to you. Good. It's good. You look like you're about 18, or not even that. I think this has got to be 1990 or 1991 or something. This is right after
yeah.
Back to Boom, probably.
I would have been, probably about 17, 18, whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's nuts.
So here's one. Did you have who are your top 5 artists? I know your artists now versus back then are probably a lot different. Do
Sure.
you have people that influence you, like, first of all, coming up, besides Mix-a-Lot and, the Seattle scene that you kind of were looking
man.
at?
Absolutely. The LL Cool J's, those type of guys, man. Come on, man. How
Oh,
could
man.
you not,
Bigger and Deffer, that was like...
Bigger
that
and
was,
Deffer was just a classic.
it's still... Yeah.
And then, of course, I was even, inspired a lot by the classic artists, the Run DMCs and the Houdinis and stuff like that. That's what made me want to get into rap, even in the first place. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. I mean, all those different classic hip hop tracks. But then, moving it even a little farther forward, right? The Egyptian Lovers and Ice T's and the people from the West Coast. And I have to admit, even Too Short and those guys, man, and Ice Cube and, cats like that. They were my inspiration, man. And even though they were my peers, and they were still, man, they inspired me to keep pushing on the hip hop.
Yeah, I grew up with that stuff too. I love it. Let's see here. That's another good question for you here. Who are the top 3 producers you've worked with that you can think of, that really inspired you? What do producers even do, honestly? Like, I have an idea. What is their role it probably varies with artists, but I just don't, for people that are new to this industry, like me, like, I don't know.
And a lot of people think they kind of use beat maker and producer kind of almost interchangeably, but that's not always the case, right? Like, somebody can make a beat and produce a beat, but that doesn't make them the producer of the song.
Okay.
But a lot of times people use it interchangeably. So just to kind of clear that up, the producer is the person that's in the studio that's almost like the conductor of an orchestra, right? He's going to tell everybody from the singers to the rappers to the drum programmers and the guitar, whatever instruments and whatever stuff you have in that song, they're going to tell you where to put it. They're going to tell you how to arrange it. They're going to tell you how to put it together, how your performance should sound and what's going to make the record sound good, right? Like, so if I'm rapping, but I'm not rapping intense enough, or I'm not enunciating enough, or, hey, put some emphasis on that word and this word and say those words in this rhythm versus that, that's what a producer does. A producer has an ear and says, I think these things will sound good. They may not play a keyboard. They may not touch a drum machine. They may not get on a microphone. They may not even touch the mixing board and be part of the engineering and all that stuff. They just be sitting there on the studio couch and saying, "This is what I'm hearing. This is what I like. Do this differently," whatever the case is. So they pretty much direct traffic in the studio. So that's the producer's role.
Got it.
As far as some of the best producers that I've worked with, I think that Sir Mix-a-Lot, man, is an underrated producer. A lot of people don't really know that he produced literally almost all of his records. There's a few of them where he's definitely had other people produced,
Right.
because there's really good beat makers that started to kind of pop up as we started to kind of climb and do our thing. Sir Mix-a-Lot did a big part of the production of Back to Boom. Big part of production, and it was helpful and instrumental in a couple of the tracks on the Rollin' with #1 album. Again, I made a lot of my beats. A lot of people didn't know that either. I
You
made
did?
a ton of my beats. Yeah, especially the Rollin' with #1 album. I made almost all of those beats.
That's a great
And
album. And when you came
yeah,
out with
yeah,
your second album, not to cut you off, Ride the Rhythm, I love that
yeah,
song. I was
yeah,
like, you know how it starts off real slow and then it
yeah.
just builds, and then like that beat, I love that beat. And the other beat I really like is the Way I Swing beat, believe it or not, because I like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
one you did with Ken Griffey Jr., like that beat. Who did that beat? Do
I
you
did
remember?
that beat.
You
Yeah.
did that beat?
So,
You
yeah,
got
I
to
did
use
that
that
beat.
beat again and bring it back. I mean, that whole like, and just like update it and just make it. I love that beat. I have
Oh,
never,
I
at the
appreciate it,
time, I
man.
never heard anything like it. Like, back then you listen to songs, they sound very similar, like the 808 kind of bass. And then,
Right.
but that beat to me was like different.
Oh,
And it was
I
just like,
appreciate it,
let me
man.
find it here. Give me a second here. Honestly, if
Have
people
you heard
haven't
the
heard,
remix, by the way, of The Way I Swing?
I think, yeah, I'm sure I have. I got to
Oh,
find
okay,
it.
yeah. It's I just dropped it about a year and a half ago. In fact, about a year ago, because right before baseball season last year. And so it's pretty dope.
I will definitely get that on there. Let's see, and for
Yeah, The
those
Way
of
I
you watching,
Swing.
you're on iTunes, you're on everything, right? So you can look up Kid Sensation, you can look up a lot of your songs anytime
Oh
you
yeah.
want. So this is the song you did with Ken Griffey Jr. I'm going to ask you, I might as well just get to this song right now. How did this song even come out? Let me just play it real quick so people can understand what I'm talking about.
Sure thing.
Mariner debut, Ken Griffey Jr. at the age of 19, and
Let me
listen to the
skip through this
ovation.
part here.
Comes the one.
No joke, give me a minute, I'll make the mic smoke on fire, rolling like gator back tires. We won't retire until you perspire.
That beat.
Ken Griffey swing the crowd to one
Ken
rhyme.
Griffey is a swinger, not a singer, a deaf rhyme bringer, a home run hitter, but I'm not a dope slinger. For those who try to flex, I'm a quick neck ringer. For those who think the rhyme is wiggity whack, I'm a sting ya. The G, the R, the I, the F, the F.
Griffey's
the
rapping.
Y.
Griffey getting to it.
How many takes did you guys do?
Oh man, you know me. I had obviously had some pretty decent chops, so I got in there and busted it out. It took him a few times through it.
How did this song even come about? You and Ken Griffey Jr. doing a song?
While I'm telling you that story, look up the remix, man, so you can so they can hear that in contrast.
Okay.
So the funny thing about that Griffey song, the way it ended up happening was because we were kind of in a fun argument about whether rapping or baseball was more difficult, right? And so I told him, anytime, man, I could go. I'm an athlete, man. I could hit a baseball, man. That's easy, whatever the case is. He said, yeah, whatever. A 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming at you, man, from Nolan Ryan, it's a little different. So I'm talking my smack, and he's talking his smack about, how easy it is to just rap and just say words. So I thought, tell you what, won't you come in the studio, and then I'll jump in the back cage with you. He said, all right, yeah, let's get to it. And he comes into the studio. I wrote to his raps and everything. And he rehearsed them, came in the studio, did a good job, busted it out, which is, hey, not bad for an athlete when you listen to him rap.
Yeah.
Well, then once the song was recorded, he was like, hey, don't forget, you're coming down to spring training with me, man. We're about to get to it. We're going to put you in the bat cage. We're going to see what's up. And so he usually drives a couple of vehicles down to spring training because he's going to be down there for a little while.
Yeah.
So he and his wife will come back and forth and family and whatnot. So we drove a couple of his trucks down to Tempe, Arizona, where the spring training was at, man. And so I went to the batting cage, and so I'm
I
in
think
there,
I saw
man.
some
And
of this
I'm,
on TV. I think I did see some of this on TV
yes,
at the time.
yes, the dudes talked about it and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And so I'm in the batting cage, having fun and I'm hitting a couple of balls. I'm like, yeah, man, look at this. Come on, man, this is easy. I'm in the 60-mile-an-hour batting cage. He said, oh, yeah, that's cute, but here, let's slide you on down here. Now, former Mariners like Omar Vizquel and Edgar Martinez and a couple of those guys were watching while all this kind of, and Jay Buhner was definitely there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And these guys are all, kind of watching. And I go into the wild thing, which is the fastest batting cage that they had there at that time. And you have to, like, if you're not like with the team, you have to sign a waiver to go into this batting cage. It was
It's dangerous.
that crazy. Yes, yes, because the balls are coming at estimated 95, but there was no guarantee they would come past us, or that they would hit you, or they would take your head off, right? So I get in there and I'm all ready to swing the bat. And all right, that's cool. Start it up. Let's go. I'm ready, man. What's the difference? 60 miles an hour, 90, just bring it, you know? And so I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for the ball. I see the light come on, and then I hear it. And then I see the ball rolling at the bottom. I didn't
You didn't
even
even
see
see
the
it.
ball come. I never saw the pitch come. I'm like, what in the world just happened? Another pitch hits the thing, starts rolling down. I'm like, these balls are coming crazy fast. So a couple more pitches start to come, and I paw the bat out there
You
trying
take
to
the
hit
early
the
swing,
ball.
you're trying to bunt.
Now, I know nobody had any cameras back then, so
Yeah.
I would say that I probably made contact with a couple of them.
I mean,
But listen, since there was no cameras, let's just say that I made contact
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
with one or two or something, man. But no, it was way more difficult than I had imagined.
that's crazy. Yeah. Because I remember watching some of that on TV before. And how did you guys even come up with the song idea? Like, that's the question I always had. Like, how did that even happen? Like, it came out of nowhere, I thought. I was like, wow, you did a song, Ken Griffey Jr. That's cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, swinging to the beat, right, was my thing, but then swinging the baseball bat was his. So the natural analogy was like, you know, the way I swing.
Yep.
And a lot of the rhymes, of course, had to do with MCing and baseball. You know, we kind of blended that. So it just kind of taking the natural path of the low hanging fruit. We said, man, every analogy of baseball or music, we're gonna put it together, man, and record a track.
Did he have a cold when he rapped it? Like, I'm trying to
No,
think
he
his voice
literally
sounded different.
that nasally voice that he had was just his rapping voice, man. And and I don't know, I kind of liked it. I thought it was
It's kind of like
dope.
Be Real, I guess. He kind of is that high pitch.
Yeah, Be Real from Cypress Hill with the whole high pitch kind of thing. Yeah,
That is
yeah.
awesome.
Did you end up finding the remix?
No, I gotta forget. Give me a minute. Let me find it. I'll cut all
No,
this
all
part.
good.
Let me find
All
it here.
good. But yeah, man, just, you know, recording with Ken and doing that was a fun process, man. I mean, like, he was a good sport in the studio. The studio, you talk about being excited and nervous, man. Them engineers and everybody, they were like the whole building, like everybody that worked at the studio, everybody that was any part of that studio was there that night, waiting for Ken to come, and they were so excited. Oh, they were just giddy, man. And so, you know, pops on in and records his part, does what he has to do. Oh, there's the remix.
Let's see here.
This jam, cause it's no joke. Give me a minute, I'll make the mic smoke on fire. Rollin' like gator back tires. You won't retire till you perspire. Kicking the funky vibe to the funky swing beat. Now you hit in the Cherokee G.
Remember Cherokee G?
Yes, sir.
This is Griffey's part.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Funk
That is
Daddy
crazy.
produced that.
Okay.
remix.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's crazy that happened. And that beat, though, I love that first beat too. Honestly, like that. If you bring it back, that'd be amazing.
Thank you, man.
That's one of my favorite beats. That and the
appreciate it.
Back to Boom, obviously. But there's some
Appreciate it.
Ride the Rhythm
Appreciate
too. I love Ride the Rhythm.
I appreciate it.
So let's see here. Did you ever freestyle or battle rap, or is that just like a thing that's more talked about than it actually happened in Seattle? Wasn't
no,
much of a
I-
Seattle thing. I don't.
If I ever like am asked to do a freestyle, what I do, and I'm just letting my secret out there because I'm not the hairy Matt type of freestyler who can just get up and talk about whatever's going on and just really, really come off the cuff. I take rhymes that I have from other raps that I've written and whatever the case is,
Yep.
and then I'll look at a couple of things that are going on in your background. There's a yellow bottle, there's a red book, there's a plant with lights, right? And I'll incorporate that into
I knew people
whatever
did
it is that
I
I'm
knew
saying.
people do that.
But no, man, I can't just
Yeah.
make it up off the rip and come off the
I
head.
feel like
and
that's what
just-
people do anyways. That's how they do it.
I think that there's an element to that to most of these guys that freestyle. But I'm sure you have you ever seen Harry Mack, that guy
Yeah.
who? Oh my gosh, man, that dude! Like he'll say, "Give me all these different words, and then let's talk about it." And he just right on the spot is talking about what the people are wearing in front of them, what they're carrying, what they're shopping for, what they're drinking. I mean, it's nuts.
Speaking of
That's
this,
talent.
we're about the same age. There used to be an old infomercial. I think it's the 80s or early 90s. There was these sunglasses called blue blockers.
Yeah, the blue blockers.
Remember
Baby. I
that,
remember.
remember that one guy that was rapping, like he would just start like off the cuff. Part of
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
anyways, part of the infomercial, he's like, blue blockers. He just started going off. I'm like,
Right,
he
right.
looked like he was 50 at the time. But yeah, that's just, yeah, battle rapping, just coming up with something and freestyling. That's all different stuff. Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely.
I knew people banked rhymes and did that.
I think that's what a lot of them do.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
Because that's how you get the filler, right? It's easy to say, that that red book could rhyme with shook, that tree could rhyme with me or we. So
True.
it's easy to take certain things and then rap about them, but then you got to have all that filler. So if you could do that off the top of your head, man, kudos to you. But I think, like you said, a lot of them have bank rhymes that they kind of pull from.
Good to know. Good to know. Let's see here. Did you have a different rap name before Kid Sensation? What was it? What was your first rap name? How's that?
Well, first I was DJ Dangerous
Oh,
because I used to DJ behind some mix a lot. I was DJ Dangerous, and that was the only one that really came before Kid Sensation.
okay.
And then a lot of people don't know this, but Sir Mix-a-Lot and Larry the White Guy from Posse on Broadway
Yeah.
gave me the name.
People
Kid
think he's
Sensation. People think he's funny, and he is. He's a funny dude. But he and Mix-a-Lot gave me that name, Kid Sensation.
okay. I got it. And while we're at it, where did Xola come from?
That's my legal name.
Yeah, that's your legal name. Okay, for some reason I thought it was Steven.
Yeah, that was my birth legal name. I actually changed my name. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I got to connect the dots.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So I was born, and my parents were married at the time, but then my father went off to war and came back kind of all messed up from war, from Vietnam and all that kind of thing. And so he divorced my mom, and and left kind of my brother and my mom and myself to kind of fend for ourselves. And so he never kind of like picked up the phone, never came to visit, never kind of whatever. He just, but little did I know, of course, he had gone through so much and seen so much and dealt with so much. So there was a big backstory behind it. But as I was growing up, I was, my mother never really talked about him or talked about what happened. So I was just kind of like inside, kind of angry with my father and angry with the whole situation. And I decided I was going to change my name, and I was going to do something completely different and new for myself. And so that's how I ended up changing my name from Steven to Xola. The last name, the name Xola means to stay in peace. And then the last name Malik was kind of like King. So I just, that was kind of what motivated me to kind of change the name and everything like that. But then what was pretty cool is the full circle story. I reconnected with my pops. He passed away in 2017, but I reconnected with him before that.
Yeah.
Got to tell him, man, that I forgive him, I love him, and he got to meet my kids, and we got to kind of vibe a little bit before he passed. So that was pretty.
That is actually really cool. But I always had questions on that myself, actually, like how all that happened. But it's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, a little back.
So let's see here. We're almost out of time. This is crazy. I have like so much stuff to even ask you here, but I'm glad I got that photo in. But
that's crazy. That's crazy.
So moving on from like, rolling with number one and, and your other albums, you're still putting out music. You have a new single coming out.
Yep.
So what inspires you to put this stuff out? And then what's the inspiration behind this song?
So I'm going to be honest, right? Like even the new music, some of the music that you're talking about, the new music, like West Side and the Presently Past the Future album and Feeling Myself and some of the songs that are on that album. The album's called Presently Past the Future for this reason. And that's kind of like a big reason of why I'm still doing music, because there is a growing demographic of people that miss the hip hop that we grew up on, that miss the kind of hip hop that that births all the music that was about the beats and the rhymes and the storytelling and the scratching. And it had the elements of hip hop. It just really, like, you go back, like you said, we talked about LL Cool J, Bigger and Dapper. It's like almost boom, it brings up a point in your life that is just real nostalgic. A lot of people miss that hip hop because, for better or for worse, there's a lot. Hip hop has changed a lot, as we kind of know. Hip hop, as we know it, the kind of hip hop that we grew up on, was you had to go back and listen to all the old stuff, right? That's probably why a lot of our old stuff is on your playlist, because it's like it brings back.
I love it.
That nostalgia and that music and that style of music. And so the Presently Past the Future album was pretty much that. It was a nod to the past with bringing back the sound, the beats and the rhymes and the storytelling that we grew up on and that we love. But it was here in the present, and it's pointing to the future of what hip hop could be, saying that this growing demographic of people, right? And it's young people, man. I know young teenagers, young adults, college age, that love throwback hip hop. Man, that's all they're like, I don't really like the music that's out today. It doesn't really. But man, you throw on some '90s hip hop, some
His hip
Big
hop
Daddy
was
Kane or
still
whatever.
some of the best music out
Come
there.
on, man.
I'm
We
gonna
were
have to,
making some great music.
yeah,
Yeah, that's not a knock to the new artists now. That's not any,
yeah,
listen, I respect everyone's art and I respect what the new artists are doing. But there's just something about our music, man, and our era that I wanted to scratch that itch so that people didn't have to only be able to go back and listen to Back to Boom and C-Town Funk and all the classic Kid Sensation stuff. They could also, listen to some new stuff from me that was like, oh man, this is fresh and but yet it still gives me that it scratches that itch and I can still get that style of music. So to really talk to you about that, even with this new song that I'm releasing, this new project and this new song, the song you have that I share with you is called Still. I said hopefully I got you the cover and I got you the song. But the thing about this new music is that I'm still gonna put out hip hop that's true to the hip hop that we grew up on, hip hop that I'm about. As you heard, the beat to that song, we talked about, the nostalgia that brings,
yep.
right?
It's
And
iconic.
so it's about preserving an era, but still bringing something fresh, new, and relevant, man. As you listen, you'll hear my lyrical game, all those kind of things is still on point. I'm still like, I'm not dropping rhymes that sound like they're from the 90s yet. The style is reminiscent.
That
That beat.
legendary all-time MC, none other than that cool brother K.I.D. Spitting flames hotter, razor on the beat. Algorithm rappers gotta take a back seat. I pin perfection while they
Your
flex
voice is
suppression.
still smooth,
Y'all
man.
wanna curse, but I'm spreading the blessing. 10 toes down in the Texas weather, Seattle and the Lone Star, yeah, we rolling together.
Texas. So let's stop at Texas. So tell everybody about Texas.
So yes, we built a home and we have now relocated down here in Texas. Man,
Yep.
we're loving it down here. As you can see, I'm still
Oh, yeah.
always
Yep.
always representing the city.
I
And
get it.
I get a hard time about all my Seahawks gear and all that stuff down here, but listen, I get to make fun of the
You
Cowboys
get better
fans
weather,
just a
man. You
little
get
bit.
better weather. I'm like,
But
I grew up here. I'm sick of this weather. Honestly, it's like fall
uh,
all the time.
I tell everybody, they say, well, why Texas? I say, well, I traded in 300 days of rain for 300 days of sunshine
Oh,
a year.
yeah.
So
That,
what
that
can I
sounds
say?
so good.
It's yeah, the weather's beautiful down here and the people are really, really beautiful, man. It's a great place. And the hospitality and the cool thing. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, man. One piece of it as well is that the despite what they might show and portray in the media and all these kind of different things, man, black folks down here and just people of color in general, brother, are doing well down here. You
That's
understand what I
nice.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, what we have only seen in places like Bellevue, right? Beautiful homes and beautiful neighborhoods and people walking around, walking their dog and sipping on their latte and waving to their neighbors. That's how they're living down here, man. A lot of
Yeah.
professional, and I'm talking about, like I said, the minorities. We don't feel like we're like spread out and sprinkled everywhere. We have
Right.
beautiful neighborhoods, man, that are full of just all different races and demographics of people. But our people are doing well, man. And
That's
despite
nice.
they try to show, black community. When you think of black community, the first thing that comes to your mind is a bunch of, this or that or whatever because of what's been fed to us. But let me tell you, down here, for example, and then I'm gonna conclude on the Texas subject. So Glen Heights, which is the city that borders my little tiny city of Ovilla that I live in, Glen Heights is the next major city over. 85,000 people in Glen Heights. The population is 85% black.
Yeah.
85% black. You heard me right.
Yeah.
Okay. How many murders did you think that there's been in Glen Heights in the last 10 years?
I don't know murder stats, man. 20? 0?
85% black, zero murders in the last 10 years. Why? Because education, income, and opportunity are there for everyone. As a black mayor, black city council members, all this kind of thing. You go to the stores, there's black folks working there. And that's not to say that, right? Because there's tons of white folks and tons of Asians and tons of everybody that are around. But the
Yeah.
point being is that when we have education, income, and opportunity, unified community, man, it's a beautiful thing. That's what I love about this place, man. I love all those different things, but like you said, the weather too. It's terrific. You
All
can't
right.
beat it, man. So yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
That is awesome. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything huge. I didn't get to everything I needed to talk to you about, but let's just see here.
You're good, man. You got me. It took us forever to finally get this linked up, man. So
I feel like
you
it did.
got me now, man. You got me. Let's get to it, man.
I know,
This
I
has
know,
been
I
great.
know.
You had
Let's
some
see.
great questions, by the way, bro.
Thank you, because I'm a fan. So honestly, this stuff is
You were
just what I want to
super
know.
prepared.
This is what I want
Super
to know.
unique questions, man. No, for real.
I'm just a fan, and I'm super happy that I got to sit down with you, even for brief amount of time like this. This is amazing for me. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, first thing I want to tell y'all about is, and you probably know about this as well, my book,
Yes.
Kings, Young Men Discovering Purpose and Shaping Their Destiny. Part of me being a grown man and being a man that has had a chance to experience some success is learning how to give back to the young men and speak life into the young men who are coming up behind me that didn't have fathers, that didn't have fatherly figures in their lives or whatever. This book, Kings, is about awakening the young king in every single young man. It doesn't have to be a young man of color. Just every young man has a king inside of them. Their kingdom is their surrounding and circle of influence. And we got to learn how to teach these young men how to find themselves and how to find the king within and awaken him so that they can reach the potential that they have to, because the world is not as good if we don't get all the potential out of these young people. They are uniquely equipped, and we have to start getting better out of our young men. So the book Kings also has a soundtrack. The King soundtrack is out there, so you guys can check that out. If you want to see me on the big screen, I'm in this movie called Safety Not Guaranteed. Aubrey Plaza's in the movie. Kristen Bell, Jake Johnston. Really dope cast. It was shot in Seattle. You guys can stream it wherever you stream your movies. But I was my first speaking role in a movie, which was really, really dope. So check that out. Good date movie. Really, really fun. Little quirky comedy. And then I also, Back to Boom, your song, is in a movie called The Paper Tiger.
On Netflix,
which is
I
a
saw
kung
that.
fu movie.
I saw that.
Good, man, good.
That was so random. I was watching. I was like, that's Back to Boom.
Dude, right at the beginning of the
Right at
song.
the beginning
Now,
of
I got two dreams realized by that. I got to see, because I grew up loving kung fu movies, man. I love karate and kung fu movies. So that was part of doing that, is actually getting to place a song on a movie soundtrack, number one. But then number two, being able to see fight scenes. Come on, man. They used almost the whole song, and there was fight scenes to my song.
It was almost the whole song.
So excited, bro.
Yeah.
So excited. So that was two dreams you realized at the same time. But check me out at kidsensation.com, and that's where you can see all the different albums, all the different projects, all the different food things that I'm up to, man. So thank you for letting me hawk my wares to your people, man.
I love it.
I hope y'all look at it.
No, I love it. And do you lecture on the Kings? I know you've done speaking stuff for it.
Yes, we do speaking engagements.
How does that work for
at
people?
School. Yeah, we do speaking engagements at schools. You just reach out to my agent NIMS on the website.
I'll put it up there. Absolutely.
So you reach out to NIMS, and they book me to do schools and all kinds of different. We put together these Kings events where we get, like, I'll get some of my athlete and entertainer friends up in Seattle, former Seahawks and NBA players, whatever, and we'll get a panel of men. Then we get a group of young men, and we say, hey man, let's sit in here, have a dialogue. Not, hey, we're being Serv, he's an oral surgeon and I'm a rapper, so we're going to tell you kids what you need to hear. No, this is, hey, let's listen. Let's engage. Let's talk so we can learn, they can learn, and we can all lead the road better.
I love it. It's all positive stuff. It's really good. Honestly, I like it a lot. So I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But
appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, man. And I hope people watching and listening get to go to your website and look at your stuff, past, present, future. Obviously, it all fits. But thanks again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
100%, man. Thank you for having me, and thank all of y'all for tuning in, man.
It's good. I love it. I know it's gonna be good.
Sir. This has been great.
Just listening to the music with you is just like the best ever, honestly. Like, cause you wrote it. Like, this is you rapping on it. Like, this is great. I love it.
Can I ask you a question before we go?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was my first song that you really were into, and just give me a little bit of story behind it, like how you discovered my music, and just tell me about it. I love hearing those stories.
So obviously, growing up, high school, Seattle, Bellevue, Mix-a-Lot came out, Posse on Broadway, and he obviously in the beginning of the song, he's like, me and Kid Sensation at home away from home, and like you're in it. Like I was like, who's Kid Sensation? And then like shortly after that, you were on Rippin. You were on Rippin, obviously. You came out with your own tape CD at the time. Back to Boom. Honestly, like when I heard that song, I was like, I was sending it to my friends. Like I was like, did you hear this song? Like put it, like it's crazy. Back to Boom for me was my Kid Sensation and wake up call. And I got it right when it came out. Like like I said, I used to go to Music Menu to get my rap music at the time because it wasn't sold everywhere. I remember specifically taking 2 buses to get down to Music Menu, Metro buses. And
yes, sir.
the first, I think I got a Beastie Boys cassette, and then I got yours. I got Rodney and Joe Cooley, and they gave me like this
Wow.
Rodney and Joe Cooley poster at the time. I was like, oh, that's cool.
That's dope.
But I would go back down there, like when Ice-T Power came out, I went and got it down there because no one else really had it. Like back then, that's
Yeah.
just how like stuff used to come out like on Tuesdays, I think, right? Like cassettes or something. I remember Tuesday was a day new music would
New
come out.
Music Tuesdays, yes sir.
Yeah, and so I would take a couple buses to go down to Music Menu and see what they had, and they had a local section too. But you guys were beyond the local section at the time. You were just there all over the place. But it was for me like just doing that, seeing concerts. Like I saw you a couple times. I've seen Mix-a-Lot. I've seen Public Enemy a couple times. Bismarcky, Big Daddy Kane. Just growing up, going to shows. But some of those shows are a little scary, just because I remember specifically at the Paramount Theater when I was seeing King T. And there was a fight in the middle of his show, and they stopped the show, turned the lights on, and they got those people out of there. And then when the show ended, there was a shooting outside the Paramount. And I was
Yep.
like, me and my friend Damien were walking. I was like, whoa. We just kept walking to
Yeah.
our bus. But that was crazy back then, too. Some of those shows got a little crazy, right?
Yeah. That's
Were you
facts.
any a part of that? Like, and did you have any shows that got a little crazy?
Yeah, man.
I mean, you toured with
Actually-
NWA.
On the road with NWA, man, there's plenty of sketchy stories. But one thing I'll tell you that was really, really crazy that happened to us is that one of the craziest dudes that ever in hip hop, and you knew not to mess with him, especially in Miami, was Luke Skywalker. There was a little bit of an issue on our payment and stuff that was going on, and Luke literally just did something like, I don't know, whistled and just kind of did a head nod. His boy that was standing there, and it was me and Mitch was kind of getting a little, kind of like, man, kind of getting a little froggy. And man, he all of a sudden 5-6 dudes come in there with guns, and they showing them like, yo, look, right under the shirts and all that kind of stuff, pulled them out and just said what. And we knew at that point in time that we was not like, man, we ain't about that life. We was a couple of little nerds who just happened to hit it, a little bit with some rap songs, man. We wasn't about that life, and we said, listen, we don't have to be hasty here now. We can talk, guys.
Yeah.
We're all friends here, right? I mean, it'll change you real quick when you run into some real cats out there, man, that are about that life. And so we realized our lane, and NWA had to find out a couple of times, and several of these artists had to find out a couple of times that we're not gangsters. We're in show business.
Right.
And you
No,
gotta
I get it.
differentiate making movies, making records, and a certain persona, whatever it is. You better differentiate that from real life, because if you don't, you'll get a wake up call.
That's crazy. I can see that stuff happen more than people would ever mention,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
Man, thank you for having me, man. This has been so much fun, man.
Good. I'm glad. It's really fun for me too. I can't wait to edit this thing. It's gonna be good.